Hey there, Kendall Hailstone here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be making some compost tea today for my video. So I'm out here in the garden and I'm going to be collecting some comfrey for some compost tea today. And it's this beautiful plant right here. The flowers haven't completely bloomed yet, but they're going to be these beautiful purple flowers here. And the reason why I'm using it for compost tea is because it's a dynamic accumulator, so it brings nutrients from the subsoil and stores it in its leaves and its foliage. And so I'm going to be chopping it up and putting it in the compost tea along with probably some worm castings, and I'll show that to you as well. And I'll be mixing some molasses in there too, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, so here we are in the kitchen, and I have this comfrey chopped up right here, and I'll actually end up chopping it a bit more to give it more surface area so that it can be steeped more efficiently in the compost tea. And let's see, I also have the worm castings here I'm going to be using in this bucket here, and I'll show that momentarily. And I'll also be using some molasses to feed the microbes. So that's kind of my my simple recipe that I use. I just use this grandma's unsulfured molasses, just original. And that's basically my really simple compost tea recipe. Just cut up comfrey, worm castings, and if you don't have worm castings, just some good old compost will do just fine. You just want to inoculate your tea with the microbes, and that's what the worm castings, that's what I'm using the worm castings for. But otherwise you can just use some good healthy microbially active compost for your compost tea as well. So I'll show you the worm castings here and how I get it all set up. Hey, so here we are. I have 3 kind of sets of buckets here. This is the bucket that is full of rainwater, and it's important to be using either filtered water or rainwater, something of that sort, because chlorine and chloramine that you typically get in your faucet water does kill microbes, and so you don't want to use that for your compost tea, because that just would totally defeat the whole purpose of it, now wouldn't it? So you want to use filtered water or rainwater or something of that sort, or well water or something that does not have chlorine or chloramine or other microbe killing chemicals. And so that's what this bucket is here. I have like a pantyhose type of thing kind of rigged up as a makeshift filter to keep the big sediment and dirt and whatever particles out of the water, so that I can ideally be putting in a sprayer and using it as a foliar spray in addition to just watering my plants with it as well. But right now I have the comfrey that I cut up. Let's see if you can see it. I have it steeping in there right now, and I'll be adding, like I showed earlier, this molasses here. And what this other bucket here in the back is, this is where I have my worms, and I'm gonna be taking this out. And you know what, I'm just gonna do it right now. I'm gonna take this out, and so you have a top part here that has all my worms in it. Set that in this other empty bucket right here, and now I can harvest the worm castings. Probably kind of hard to see in there, but now I can harvest these worm castings and put them into this bucket here with the comfrey. And so let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so the vermicompost is now in this bucket with the comfrey, and now I just need to mix in this molasses, which honestly I should have done before I even put the comfrey here in this filter here to go in the water, because now it's gonna be kind of more difficult to stir, but let's go ahead and do that now. I don't exactly measure it, but I just have a nice spoonful of molasses going into this 5-gallon bucket. Ideally, you want your water temperature to be room temperature. You don't want it to be too cold. Microbes thrive in about the same temperatures that we do, in about 70, 75 degrees, the mid to low 70s or so. That's where microbes thrive. So if you can get your water to that temperature, that would be ideal. Awesome, so it's nicely mixed. I made sure I got all of the molasses off of the spoon into the water there and mixed nice and thoroughly. And so another key component of this compost tea that I make here is an aerator. You need oxygen to be going into the water and in order to feed the aerobic bacteria, because that's what we want to be proliferating in this compost tea. We don't want anaerobic bacteria, which grows without oxygen. We want those bacteria that grows with oxygen, which are called aerobic bacteria. And so we need an aerator to help those thrive. So let me go ahead and show you what I use. I most likely will be upgrading to something different in the future, but here I have this aerating pump here. It's called the Whisper 10 air pump. I can leave a link to this in the description of this video. And it obviously has a plug. It plugs into the wall and then has it has the plug here, and then it has a tube here that connects to this air stone right here, and it connects just like this. Boop, just like that. I had it off because I just finished a batch of compost tea, and this was all covered with bacterial slime, and so you need to clean this after every use, because then it'll be all gummed up and you want it to be all clean for a new application. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put this inside our bucket that I just stirred in with molasses, and then we'll put our filter over that, and then we'll turn it on and it'll be ready to steep for at least 24 hours. So let's do that right now. Glorious. So now it is all finished up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Just I have sitting in my kitchen floor here. I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So yes, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was informative for you, so you can start making your own compost tea at home. I am considering offering a compost tea service of maybe coming into people's gardens and doing a compost tea spray for a fee. I don't know the details of that yet, but if that's something that you would be interested in, let me know, because there is a host of huge benefits of compost tea as a foliar spray for your plants. Not only is bacteria and other microbes important for the soil and the soil life and for the roots of your plant, but they're also important for the foliage and the leaves of your plant too. There are exudates that the plants excrete in their leaves that attract bacteria and fungi as well. And those bacteria and fungi help protect the plant from pests, from different diseases. And so, like I said, there's a lot of really great benefits to having a compost tea foliar spray. So like I said, please leave a comment below or message me if you're interested in something like that. And yes, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, beautiful rest of your life, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Peace out, people. Love you. Bye.